So, when you think about the electric vehicle revolution, you're probably picturing names like Tesla, maybe BYD, or even Volkswagen. But what if I told you that the single most powerful company in this entire global shift is one you might not even know? Well, let's dive into the story of this unseen titan that's quietly built an empire right at the heart of our electric future.
And let's just kick things off with a number that is kind of mind-blowing. By early 2026, a single company is on track to control a staggering 45% of the entire global market for EV batteries. This isn't just being a market leader. This is straight-up dominance on a scale that actually reshapes entire industries and even geopolitics.
And that company is CATL, which stands for Contemporary Amperex Technology. Get this, since it was founded in just 2011, it has completely outpaced, out-innovated, and outproduced every single rival from Japan and Korea. They're not just another company making parts, they've become the absolute center of gravity for the whole energy transition. So what's their secret? A strategy that is as brilliant as it is ruthless. They built something called a vertical moat. Now, instead of just making the batteries, CATL decided to control every single step of the process. Think about that. From the second lithium is pulled out of the ground to the moment it's recycled from a dead battery, CATL is in charge. This gives them an almost unbreakable advantage over everyone else.
This moat is built on 4 massive pillars. First, by literally owning the mines, they don't have to worry about the crazy price swings of raw materials. Second, they pour a ton of money into their own R&D. Third, through their subsidiary Brunp, they're already way ahead of the game on recycling, creating this perfect closed loop. And finally, their speed. It's legendary. They can take an idea from a lab to a massive factory faster than anybody.
And when I say they invest in R&D, they've built an army. CATL has over 18,000 researchers on staff. This isn't about just copying what others are doing. This is about setting the global standard and constantly breaking the rules of what we thought was possible with batteries. This relentless innovation, that's our sharpest weapon, for sure.
Which brings us to the new battleground, right? Where industrial power isn't decided by steel anymore, but by chemistry. CATL gets it. They know there's no single perfect battery for everything. The future is about having a whole arsenal of different technologies, each one perfectly tailored for every corner of the market.
So just take a look at their lineup. For the super high-end, luxury market, they've got the Killin battery, which holds the world record for range. For the rest of us, in the mass market, there's the Shengsang battery, which pretty much ends range anxiety by giving you 400 kilometers of charge in just 10 minutes. For city fleets like taxis, their Choco Swap system lets you swap a battery in under a minute. And then there's the real game changer.
Their Naxtra battery. It's based on sodium-ion chemistry, and this is a masterclass in strategy. See, sodium is everywhere, and it's dirt cheap, unlike lithium. This battery is about 30% cheaper to make, and it works great in extreme cold, which is a huge weakness for lithium-ion. Yeah, it might have a bit less energy density for now, but it completely flips the script on the economics of making affordable EVs.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. CATL's own chairman predicts it's going to replace up to 40% of the entire battery market. This isn't just a new product launch. It's a fundamental reset of the market designed to protect CATL's growth no matter what happens with lithium supplies. So, how is everyone else supposed to compete with this?
Okay, so now let's pivot to Europe. For years, the big dream over there has been battery sovereignty, creating their own Airbus of batteries to take on the competition. But that dream has run smack into a very harsh reality.
This timeline really says it all. While Europe's homegrown champion Northvolt was going bankrupt, CATL was busy finalizing plans to open yet another massive factory right there on European soil. The gap between them hasn't just grown, it's become a chasm.
So why is Europe having such a hard time? Well, it really boils down to a few key things. Their energy costs are up to 40% higher, which makes production super expensive. Unlike Catalan, European companies don't own their own mines. They just can't move as fast as Catalan. And honestly, the strategy has been all over the place, with no single unified vision.
But Europe isn't just standing still and watching this happen. They realize they can't win a head-to-head war on volume and cost, so they're adapting. They're trying to shift the rules of the game with a pretty clever multi-part counterattack.
So here's what they're doing. First, they're betting big on the next big thing, solid-state batteries. The hope is to just leapfrog the current tech entirely.
Second, they're using regulation as a kind of shield. And third, companies like Volkswagen are trying to standardize a unified cell design to finally get the economies of scale they so desperately need.
Let's look a little closer at that regulatory shield. This EU battery passport is a really sophisticated rule. It demands total transparency on a battery's carbon footprint and how much recycled material is in it. It's basically a barrier that's designed to penalize batteries made using coal-heavy power, which is a direct shot at the way things have traditionally been done in Chinese manufacturing. But all of this, it leads to a really fascinating and frankly unexpected twist in the story. This bitter rivalry is changing. Faced with the reality of the situation, the European auto industry has basically decided, if you can't beat them, partner with them.
This quote here from the chairman of Stellantis, one of Europe's biggest automakers, just captures this new mood perfectly. Did you catch the word he used? Partner. That one word signals a huge strategic pivot, away from competition and toward collaboration.
And this is not just talk. We are talking about a 4.1 billion euro investment. That's the price of being pragmatic. A massive joint venture between the European auto giant Stellantis and its supposed rival, CATL.
The details here are really telling. It's a brand new factory in Spain. It's going to use CATL's advanced and affordable LFP battery tech. It's aiming to be totally carbon neutral, and production starts in late 2026. What does this do? It gives Stellantis access to cutting-edge technology made locally to power their next generation of affordable EVs.
There's a word for this: coopetition. It's this complex dance where rivals work together on things like manufacturing and tech, even while they are still fiercely competing to sell you a car. It's just the new reality in the global auto industry.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this? Well, it's a pretty clear admission of reality. For right now, the dream of European autonomy is literally being built on top of Chinese technology. Getting access to affordable batteries and creating local jobs has simply become more important than pure industrial sovereignty.
But the story isn't over. Not by a long shot. The final battleground might actually be the circular economy. See, while CATL is leading in production right now, Europe's intense focus on sustainability and super-efficient recycling, that could be its long-term path back to relevance, especially for a continent that doesn't have a lot of its own raw materials.
Which leaves us with one final big question. Is this new era of coopetition a brilliant, pragmatic way to speed up the green transition, or is it a Trojan horse, leading Europe into a new and even deeper kind of industrial dependence? The answer to that is going to define the next chapter of the EV revolution.
And that's all for this explainer. The story of the EV battery is about so much more than just technology, right? It's a story of strategy, competition, and some very surprising partnerships. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.